The main point for me that I'm trying to say is just wasn't for me. I finished reading the book Water Moon by Samantha Sotto Yambao. Hi, I'm taking down my braids, so this is how I prep it when I go to sleep. I'm taking them out while I want to talk and check in with you. I almost finished editing June week 2 vlog, so I was hearing what I was talking about NP, and I now recording this now. I finished NP, and it's actually been a couple days since I finished it because I wanted to sit with it to make sure I understand and even do a little bit of research to make sure I understand what I was reading or if there were some points that I was missing. NP by Banana Yoshimoto. This we're going to be going into. This is going to be a little bit more of a spoiler review. My non-spoilers will be in the reading wrap up, but I like my vlogs to be a little bit more on the spoiler side because I just am itching to talk about it. This is more for people who's read the book. This will only appeal to those who don't want to read it or have read it. After reading NP by Banana Yoshimoto, I don't think I can get past the 2 incest stories. Like I think I can't get past it. I know what the book was trying to say. She did have an afterword where the author goes into telling us, the author of this book, we're highlighting our main character that we're following. We're pretty much highlighting all the people she met in her life. The main 3 people she's met in her life that are all troubled, have like a troublesome past, and herself and her partner. Everyone, right? Like everyone has something that they have gone through. And I think not the point, but heavy theme is just love, and love in different forms. And love is hard to understand. Love is complex. Stuff like that. Of course, there is the trigger warning. I keep forgetting to do this in the beginning, but it is talking about suicide. So trigger warning for that if you don't want to hear anything related to those themes. I would expect it to focus a little bit heavier than I thought, but to me maybe it didn't. There was other things that the book was clearly trying to cover. The main point for me that I'm trying to say is just wasn't for me. I get that they want to highlight that like love is complex. I get that everyone is complex too. Like it's hard to understand everybody, and you don't know what draws you into them. Everyone was tied to the book NP itself. The title of the book of this one's called NP, but it is also the 98th story of the book is called NP. So it's a book within a book. We learn so much of how these characters think. They don't shy away from the whole like what's really going on, like the incest part. They do make light fun of it, and they do even ask them, so like, how does it feel? What are your thoughts on it? So they do talk about it. They're not like ignoring the fact. They're just, because of course as the reader you're just going to be questioning that too, so might as well get those questions out of the way through the story. But it's all very complicated on how the characters feel. Yeah, I don't know, I just couldn't get past it. Maybe this will be a short review. Maybe this will be like, well, this book really wasn't for me to enjoy, or even though I understand, I can't tell you. I'm not explaining it well what I understand from it. I think I do, as an overall view, get the point of the book or the intended audience it's supposed to reach. Kind of just reminded me that there's a book for everyone, really. There's a book for every little niche and whatnot. I just can't get past that. I can't speak for people who've been in this situation, obviously, but it is interesting to know that, like, hey, there's a book where it kind of covers those type of themes and that complex story of love. And I think that was it. I wish I enjoyed it as much as I could have, but nah, it was that one thing that I had to look past or truly accept in order to enjoy the rest of the parts of the stories that they were trying to cover and talk about. And it was hard. I think I was trying to read it faster too, because I was like, oh, come on, there's other things that, not like I was over it, but it's like there has to be more to it. And sometimes there isn't more to it. Sometimes it's just as simple as that. Nothing, as complex their lives are, sometimes the thought process of someone else is actually more simple than you thought. And I think our main character goes through that too with a person that she met. She thought she was so much more complicated than she really was because how she acts or interacts with other people. But in reality, as she got to know her, she realized like, no, actually her thought process is pretty straightforward. She just expresses it very oddly, but besides how she expresses it, she gets her, she understands her, and she just goes along for the ride. Or she knows how to, over time she learns how to speak to her because she knows how she intakes information or how Sue would react to it. I like the friendships, but it was, yeah, I mean, you get the point. You get why I don't enjoy it as much as I did. I think I decided it would be a 2-star for me personally for this type of book, which is a shame, but it's fine. I have other books from Banana Yoshimoto. They arrived. Let me go pick them up. Okay. So excited. So I got these editions from Waterstone. I actually did a whole Waterstone purchase. I'm very picky of what editions I want to own of certain books, and I'm not saying like I only own special editions or whatnot. There's some books I prefer the 1960 version or the 1980 version, even though it might be a little crusty dusty. You would be surprised what kind of editions I want to own. But for me, if I'm going to buy a book, if I'm going to buy a book full price versus just renting it at the library or checking it out in the library and returning it, I want to own the edition that I want. And so I like the UK editions, so I did purchase a lot of books on Waterstone, which will be part of a book haul video I'm going to do. I want to do it as the birthday book haul. If you watch the vlogs, you actually have seen the books that I bought recently. If you watch the vlogs, you've seen it. I just don't talk about them because I buy books over time. And I think in the book haul video, I'm only going to highlight some books. There's no way I'm going to highlight all of them. No way. Like, it's a little embarrassing. Just a little bit embarrassing. But I got The Premonition in Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto. Look at these. You would think I want everything to match, but not really, because I actually really like this cover of NP. It is a different size, and I know that might like bother people, but this is fun. It's kind of like the Stephen King books I own. There's a set of Stephen King books that all have the same font for their titles. You probably know what I'm talking about, but it matches everything. I've seen people's shelves with the full collection. They all match. And for me, for my Stephen King collection, which is not huge, I don't want to own every book of his. I like everything to be different just because he's been writing for such a long time. There's some editions I prefer the older look. I don't like all his newer or the reprint of his older works where it was intended to match. I'm so picky, and this is just more for if you're very particular like me, if you're similar to me when it comes to owning anything really. Like, it doesn't even have to be books, it could be figures, because we do collect figures too. That was a tangent. I'm so bad at this. As I was editing, I realized I tangent a lot, like I go off a lot on random stuff. But yeah, I'm expecting these to be really great reads. I've heard a lot about The Kitchen. And I do have Dead End Memories that my friend gifted to me by Dead End Memories by Banana Yoshimoto. So those, I'd actually have higher expectations for that one. These two are just going to be for fun because I want to read more of her works. Yeah. That was just a little check-in for NP. It's been a while since I've had something that made me feel more, not like a letdown, but sad that I just wasn't in the intended audience to read this. But now I know. Do I regret reading it? No. I don't regret reading it. I think you learn a lot about yourself, the author, and the type of books you're interested in, even if they're not like a 4 or 5 stars. I have a lot of 3 stars I enjoy a lot because I do know what I like. It's just been a while since I read something that's anything underneath a 3-star. For me, my personal rating, which means nothing to everybody else, but for me, how I feel overall. It's just been a while. So it's just like, oh, it's been like 6 months since my last like 2-star kind of feel. This is a completely different feeling versus when I read the other book, but I digress. This week's for week 3 vlog would probably be short. I'm finishing up Watermoon, so I'll check in with y'all when I finish that. So far it's pretty fun. It's very magical. This isn't the review for Watermoon yet, but it's very light, cozy read. Magical, cozy. It lives up to its name. I haven't finished it, but I'm almost done. I think I would say like 70-75% almost done with the book. It lives up to its cozy name. Okay, I'll check back with you at the end of the week. Look what came in the mail! This was like a bulk order of mine, but of course it's shipped separately. It's by SF Masterworks. There's a couple of their editions that I wanted specific books for. The Body Snatchers and I Am Legend. So I Am Legends is on its way. But, oh man, isn't this creepy? Oh god. I think out of all my horror books, this by far has the creepiest photo. By far. I mean, cover, not photo. Also, I have seen the movie. I have seen The Body Snatchers. I have to read the synopsis to see if it's actually the same. I think it's the same because at the end it says aliens are taking over bodies of the minds. His friends are neighbors. It was, I think, a plant that was the alien. But yeah, we always watch The Body Snatchers every Halloween because it gives off those vibes. I can't wait to read the book. I just didn't expect the cover to be haunting your nightmares. Oy, oy. Hi, it's your girl Kim. I wanted to do a little bit of a check-in. I finished reading the book Watermoon by Samantha Sotto Yambao. This is my edition. This is the Owl Crate edition with the pretty edges on this side and the cool art inside. I know I showed it a couple times already in the vlogs, but very gorgeous with the reverse dust jacket, which now makes sense. The artwork now makes sense to me now that I've read that part. Tried to talk as not too much in depth in it, but I think I mentioned earlier this week when I brought up that I was reading this book that it lived up to its cozy name, and I personally agree with that too. It does live up with its cozy name all the way through. I think there are some parts in the book when they start going more into like bloody scenes. I'm not saying like there's hella bloody scenes. There's probably like two very heavy descriptive scenes that's kind of bloody. And she described them actually pretty well. That made me even uncomfortable. I was like cringing the whole time. I was like, oh god, because she describes it where I can imagine it perfectly. And I thought that was pretty cool. And not like, oh, bloody scene is cool, but that she was capable, this author was capable of doing that. And so for me, it's like, oh wait, if she can write a scene like that really well, then I can't imagine her other works if she went that route over just a super comfy route. There is some high stakes towards the end. We follow a girl named Hana who's in charge of, well, she becomes in charge of a pawn shop. She and her dad was originally in charge, not her, but her dad was originally in charge, but because he's retiring for reasons to be unknown throughout the story until, well, Hana is investigating the true reasons really, but he passes it on to her, and of course on her first day of work it ends up being like a complete shit show. Our biggest fear is really of going to your first day just being the worst because you don't really know what's going on. She's trained almost her whole life knowing how to work this pawn shop. Not almost her whole life, literally her whole life. It's part of her fate. And I thought it was really interesting. This might go into spoiler territory, so I may or may not put a border, because I will be describing some background details. I will say this book, I know it has like different types of critiques to it. I think, so it's a magical world, and I think the magic might be a little, not overwhelming, but a little confusing, because the world that they live in, the world that Hana lives in, it does get compared to Studio Ghibli. They literally mention it in the book too, which is hilarious to me. It doesn't bother me too much, but it is compared to Studio Ghibli. And if you watch Studio Ghibli films, or at least Spirited Away, you know how everything in the world in Spirited Away just happens. The magic just happens. The most randomest things, or the most small convenience things, would be a magical portion. And it's different in the movies. When you see something that's constantly changing in the movies or in animation, you see it, so you get it a little bit faster, but when you read it, it might be different. I haven't read too many books that describe the magic into so much detail like a Studio Ghibli film. I haven't read any Studio Ghibli books either. So, sorry. Let me adjust. I'm adjusting my seat. But yeah, I think a lot of people didn't like that or couldn't vibe with it because there is no really settling down of the world. The world keeps changing, it keeps updating. So if you're more used to fantasy worlds where you can settle down and put your feet and be grounded in, and you understand where you are, you know, like when they provide a map, like you truly get that world, I don't think this will give that to you. They're constantly moving around. Both her and the person she ends up sticking around with, ooh, what's his name again? Kishin. So Hana and Kishin are together trying to figure out a mystery that happened in the beginning on her first day of work. And essentially, okay, I'll put a spoiler tag. Spoilers, y'all. This is spoiler territory. You have been verbally warned, and now you will have been visually warned. Her father goes missing on the first day of work. He was kind of a little vague before, or like a little sus before his disappearance. But at first, Hana had no clue. Her pawn shop gets completely ransacked. And I will say, in the first chapter or so, I think it's actual chapters. I'm so used to reading books that don't give us chapters. Yeah, there's actual chapters in there. But they get to it, not that much, but they do get into the plot, because there's a lot of things that happen and it's not a big book. So they get straight into the disappearance of her father. Hana also, they do mention very, very early in the beginning that she had a mother that passed away since she was born, but it is just not questionable, but the reasons why she died was actually explained and showed to the whole world, not literally like a video clip like the news, but more like verbally as a story, saying like as a warning from the ones in charge of Hana's world. So I'll backtrack. There's two worlds we also learn. There's Hana's world, and then we have the world outside of the pawn shop. You kind of understand it a little bit as you read more. At first I didn't really get it. I was like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean your world? But do think of it like a Studio Ghibli film. I think that's the closest. There probably is way more other movies and films to give this as an example, but the easiest and most widely known is I'm gonna say Spirited Away. I'm just gonna mention Spirit. Oh no, you know what? Howl's Moving Castle. Howl's Moving Castle is perfect. People should specifically say that movie because you have a moving castle and the moving castle has a door. This is Howl's Moving Castle I'm talking about. Once you open that door, we're entering a whole new world. I think they have to spin something. It's been a while since I've watched it. It's one of my favorites. Once they spin something of a wheel, it says, okay, ready to go. You open the door and it becomes a whole different area, you don't know where it's specifically tied to. They don't go into the science of it all because that's not how it works for their films. It's just part of the world and you just have to accept that. That is probably the approach this book was trying to get at too. So imagine, if you know that movie, and given what I said, imagine Hana's pawn shop, and once you open the door, you're going to be seeing a whole different world. But I think it's always the same world, not like a completely different one. Every time you open the door, it's just a different world and it's set to that different world. I'm assuming. I don't know if they can switch worlds. So we have her side, the magic side, and then the other side very unknown to her. Let's just call it regular Earth. Let's just call it us. That's the vibe it was giving off. Someone enters her shop on the first day, and from there on, they've just been tied together ever since, to the very end. I know a lot of people also, this is the part where a lot of people complain too, where it's kind of instant love, and I feel like it's definitely not a slow burn, I will say that, but it wasn't too bad in my opinion for an instant love moment. I don't read a lot of romance, so I don't have a lot to compare it to, but I mean, I get it. There were some lines where I'm like, you're already in love with her, damn. But I do personally believe in instant love. I have friends and family who explain their love stories and it was like love at first sight. I do believe that. It's odd to read it in the book because it feels very fast. Or it just feels like, oh, are you just saying it to get the plot rolling? So for whatever reason in the book, it makes it feel weird, even though it does happen in real life. We can say it's instant love. I would say it's like, yeah, they do fall in love within a couple chapters, but they have been together and journeying together for a while, and you can't say you don't have feelings for a person when you're physically attracted to them on top of that, because she talks about his appearance and whatnot. So I don't know, there's many reasons to have feelings and fall in love, but that happens between her and Kishin, I believe. But yeah, so we follow their journey and we follow in the different type of worlds that they're traveling to find her father and also to find the mystery of what happened to her mother. And it was a pretty fun ride, I will say. I tried to imagine the magic and it was gorgeous. There's an origami world. There is a time world. There are so many different types of worlds. I can imagine, it was descriptive enough for me, for my imagination to be able to capture it. I'm not gonna say it's for everybody. I think it might confuse people. I know people who've DNF'd this book because it was just too much going on. Okay, now where are we, So I will say that. I haven't heard too much about that aspect, but I guess it's a spoiler at that point, right? Still think it's worth the read. The ending to me was pretty solid. Pretty solid. Yeah, it was pretty solid. Kishin also has his own background and his own baggage that he carries that's related to his mom as well. And with his mom, pretty much it's the story that she gave birth to him, but also probably at a young age decided to leave him. I think she just wasn't ready to have him. Oh my god, I don't want to spoil this part, even though this is a spoiler section, I don't want to spoil this part, but it's crazy how she was able to twist the stories and make sense of it, and the surprise moments, the plot moment, big plot point moments. I enjoyed it. I gasped, okay? I was gasping between so many drops. I think now that I'm talking about it, it seems like a 4 stars. To me, this was a solid 3.5 star read. A solid 3.5 star read. I felt like you could do more, but like she had so many ideas. It felt like she had hella ideas and dumped it all in the book. I think she probably actually held back, because it also reads like she was having fun, like the author is having fun. That's what it reads to me. You have all these beautiful ideas, you just want to incorporate in a magical world, but there's only so much you can put in, and she already put in a lot. So she probably had to held back or cut hella, is my assumption. I have no idea. I never watched or read any reviews about the making of this book, but it gives off that when I read it. And I think also her author description, which is super cute, it says, is a professional daydreamer, aspiring time travel and speculative fiction writer based in Manila, Philippines. And so I'm gonna have to support. I didn't know she was Filipino. Is she Filipino? Oh my gosh. We love Filipino authors. Okay, the more the merrier, please. I want more Filipino authors, actually. More Black and Filipino authors. So, got to love it. I love it for what it was. I think on Goodreads I'll probably just up it to... No, I think I put it as a 3. It was solid. I just remember it was solid. Maybe because it was more on the cozy side and the stakes could have been higher. But... yeah, for me, my personal rating was like a 3.5 on it. It was fun. I think it's hella worth the read, y'all. I think it's hella worth the read. It's like where your imagination can take you, and it's just fun to write it down and make a story out of it. I didn't even explain to you what the pawn shop is about, but honestly, like, just read it for yourself. Yeah, the pawn shop, it made sense to me. It made sense what you are getting and retrieving in return, right? Like, you giving up something is essentially the act of a pawn shop, right? And then you get something in return. Normally it would be money or whatever you're trading for, but in this case they're trading for something else, right? So it's a fun time. It's a fun read. There's dark stuff, but not that dark. There's like these evil creatures or beings or people, well, yeah, that they became evil, and they're head of Hana's world, and they're hunting her down, right? Oh, the Shequin. Okay, they're called the Shequin. And tell me why. Maybe I'll put it up. But the whole time, I was thinking of the Dementors in Harry Potter. Like, I know they describe the Shequin. They do, right? Like, they have these masks and everything. But when I imagine them in my head the whole time reading, I imagine Dementors. Just trying to chase down Hana. That's the vibe they were given. Or they were giving. Yeah, I thought it was fun. I also remembered to take note in my head the whole time I was reading this. This deserves an anime. This absolutely deserves an anime, not live action. I mean, they can make it into a live action if they wanted to, but I think it would do it hella justice if you make it into an anime movie. Not so much a series, because not much, I don't know how much you can stretch this to be even 12 episodes, but this would be beautifully done and so fun if it was adapted to an anime. Just saying. But sometimes some books are just meant to stay books, so yeah, I had fun. I had a hell of fun of Water Moon. I actually have I have the original edition, so I'm going to donate that one to the library and keep the Owl Crate version. I annotated quite a bit. Normally when I annotate, I don't put the tabs out. I keep them inside just because if I really like the sprayed edges. If I don't like the sprayed edges, I don't care. I'll just stick out the tabs. But yeah, I think I will wrap up my weekly vlog for the week 3, I believe. This has been fun. I think taking little parts of my life, and then showing it to y'all has been a little fun. A little bit taxing, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how you vloggers do it. I truly don't, without being full-time content creator. Honestly, like, I'm not full-time content. I go to school, I go to work, and very little time to even do my own crafts. And I still gotta freaking edit everything I still gotta edit all of this and upload all this. I don't get how y'all do it, but it is worth it for me in the end, because I like to look back to see how excited I was for certain books. And I did tell myself I wanted to kind of vlog my reading journey and meet more readers. I have my best friend. I love her to death. She's the only one I talk about books in real life. And I've actually met a couple other friends and coworkers that read certain things that we can talk about, but it's hard if we do different genres. Still, I like meeting new people through this medium. you know. Oh, another update before I truly go. I had spent some time reading Fearin'. I'll put the, yeah, Fearin'. I'm not caught up with the manga. I finished the anime. So I actually did that over this week. I just don't film a lot. I need to get used to that. But also I don't mind not getting used to it because I do truly like to live in the moment and just show snippets. Tiny snippets of my life. And I hope that's enough for y'all. I think eventually I'll get comfortable and you'll see my personality actually show on this camera. I know I feel like it's not showing as much as I think I would like it to. It's so much easier when I used to do live streams because it's live. There's nothing to hide. Absolutely nothing to hide. But vlogs, I have to edit it so it can be shorter so you guys aren't watching for another like 2 hours or an hour. I'm sorry. I'm trying. Okay. We'll see you next week. I think for TBR wise, based on my TBR video, there wasn't any books I wanted to replace or squeeze in. We'll see. I might skip In the Dream House, to be honest, and then replace it with one of the books I got recently. Me and my friend were gonna read In the Plow. Dry Your Bones in the Plow? Is that what it's called? Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I have my laptop ready to go. Let me pull up my Goodreads. Feel free to follow me on that too. Oh, found it. Okay. Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead. So me and my friend are going to read that one. I'm going to add that. I'm going to replace it actually for that book being the replacement from In the Dream House. Let me pull it. Yeah. I just don't think it's the time for me to read this one just yet. I'll wait off. Maybe I'll push it to maybe I'll push it to another time. I shouldn't like make promises. But yeah. And of course, the big booking question that was a summer vibe giving for me was Priority of the Orange Tree. I still want to start that and finish it this month. That's a massive book. I super want to do it. I know it's going to take me almost a whole month, but I've heard great things. And also, I want to go back into the world of dragons. I just want to go back into the world of dragons. You know what I got 2 books recently of? Oh, y'all. I log everything. So, like my reading and how much I've spent on books, stuff like that. Like I have a massive tracker. But the book is, oh, here it is, by Taran Matthew, Dragon Rider, which is book 1, and then The Tainted Khan, book 2. So it's the Soulbound Saga. They did have a reprint with a guy on it, but I love the original, which was like a white hardback. And once I get it, I'll show you. Hopefully I get it in July. I think that's when the shipping date said, but I was able to find both of them. Yeah, I can't wait to show you. I literally just did a book haul and I had a dragon book, The Dragon Mage. And so I'm just here drowning in dragon books that I've been dying to read. The Priority of Orange Tree has dragons. You know, I started the audio, but I only did the audio when I was fixing my hair. And trust me, y'all, I was like, no. Huge fantasy books just needs to be physical. I need to do both. I enjoy having huge fantasy books being audio and physical. Like it has to for me, because I got lost. I was like, oh no, I need to tab, I need to write down things. Like it will not stick to me if I read such like an almost 1,000-page book and just hear the audio. It doesn't work. It's so hard to follow along just with the audio by itself, because I like to do audio and then physical, sometimes hopping back forth and then retrace some steps. Nah, not with that book. Not gonna happen. I tried it. I got lost, so I stopped. But yeah, I want to take a dent because I miss my dragons. You know, that's my heart and soul right there. Like epic fantasy, that's my bread and butter. That's a place where I'm happiest the most. And it's a huge yellow book with a blue dragon on it, and that to me screams the summer. I haven't been reading too many summery theme vibes. I've just been reading what I've been in the mood for. So I know a lot of people read romance around this time, but still, need I say more? takes a little bit more of like willpower for me to start a purely romance book. It's okay. I live through other YouTubers when it comes to romance and romance book reviews, so that's why I always get recommended romance. I feel it's because the people I follow are huge romance people. And I love living through them and their point of view, because I know I'm not going to read it anytime soon. Like, who knows, you know? So I'll just live through them. And that's it. Okay. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. And yeah, I think that's it. Feel free to talk to me about any other books that you have been reading, or if the books that you have been reading are related to the ones I have. If you read NP, or if you have read Watermoon. I know Watermoon's a huge one, so who knows. I can see it being people's favorite. I might change it to a 4-star, because after talking to y'all about it out loud, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it's actually pretty good. I actually kind of like it. I like it more than I thought. I think at the moment, I rate based on the moment, and a little bit afterwards, I was like, no, I think this is just giving solid 3.5, but I think I actually might change it to a 4-star, because it was more enjoyable after you sit with it and you realize what you just experienced. But yeah. Okay. Goodbye. I'll see you next week. Yeah, in the next week vlog. And then I'll see you again, if not, in the June review. So I hope that will be fun, because I read a lot of good books, except one, this month. Yeah. Bye. Goodbye.